In today's work environment, building employee commitment is essential, and yet it's very difficult. We find that people are staying at work environments for shorter periods of time, and when they're there, we don't always have them. We use a phrase, how many souls have left the building? We may keep the people, but we may not have kept their spirit. And the idea of building employee commitment means that people are truly committed to your work environment. They're giving you their all. They're creative, they're resourceful, they have impact. And that's what we're striving for. You know, in our training sessions with our clients, we have an exercise that we utilize. We ask people to think about the city in which they live and respond to one of three statements. The three statements are these. How many of you could pick up and move from your city relatively easily? The second statement is, how many of you would be able to do it, but it would take some thought and it would have to be under the right circumstances? And the third question is, how many of you couldn't see yourself moving at all? It would take a miracle to pick you up and move you from that city to another city. Interestingly enough, we have three separate groups every time stand up for each one of those statements. What's the difference between those three groups? Well, I'll tell you what the difference is. It's the number of connections they have to that city. It may be church, place of worship. It may be their school, their alma mater. It may be the type of food. It may be that they have family there, but they have connections to that city that keep them there. Those that have more connections, if you have 10 connections and one of them is lost, you still have 9 left that will keep you in that city. Those that have one connection, if you lose it, there's no reason to keep you there. That's one of the reasons why they're connected to the city. The second reason is strength. Strength of a connection makes a difference. Is it a weak connection, an average connection, or a strong connection? Let me give you an example. There's a waiter at one of my favorite restaurants. He has a master's degree and he had a perfectly fantastic career. And yet he decided to give it all up because someone in his family he cared about was ill. And his connection with that person was so strong that he rearranged his entire life to wait on tables so he could be there to support that person. Strength trumps number any day of the week. Now, what does this have to do with work? Well, everything. The more connections and the stronger connections that employees have with their work environment, the more likely it is they're going to stay. And the more likely it is they're going to give you more. It's a mutually beneficial bond that we're trying to create between an employee and their work environment. How do we do that? Well, we have to first find out what makes our employees passionate. One suggestion would be to have one-on-ones with each of your employees on a quarterly or a yearly basis, depending on how many you have. You'll be surprised at what you learn about not only the work environment, but about what your employees can bring to the table. It'll help you delegate differently. It'll help you think about each person and what they can do for the work environment and how they can benefit from the work environment differently. Take that time and meet with them one-on-one. Second, ask them to write a personal vision and connect that personal vision to the organization's vision and mission. Help them see how their work and what they stand for and what they believe in drives the business forward, helps the business become successful, and has impact. The more connected they are personally to the organization and its vision, the more likely they're going to stay and they're going to give more.